Hello students, welcome in history class. In the previous presentation, we have started the 7th lesson, the Administration of Swaraj. There we studied the Ashtrapradhan Mandal of Shivaji Maharaj, and in today's presentation, we are going to get knowledge about the defense system of the Swaraj. In the military organization, there were two main divisions of the army of Shivaji Maharaj, infantry and cavalry. In the infantry, there were officers such as the Havaldar, Zumledar, etc. The chief of the infantry was called Sarnobat. He was the highest officer in the infantry. In the cavalry, there were two types of cavalrymen, namely Shiledar and Bargirs. The Shiledar had his own horses and weapons. The Bargirs was provided with a horse and weapons by the state. In the cavalry, Bargirs were more in numbers. The rank of cavalry officers were similar to those of the infantry officers. The highest officer in the cavalry was the Sarnobat. Netoji Palkar, Prataprao Gujar, Hambirrao Mohitte were some of the famous Sarnobats of the cavalry. Intelligence Department. It was necessary to protect the Swaraj from its enemies. For this, it was necessary to get precise and timely information about the movements of the enemies. It was the job of the intelligence department to obtain information about the movements of the enemies and submit it to Maharaj. The intelligence service of Maharaj was very efficient. Bahirji Naik was the head of the intelligence department. He was extremely skilled in his job. He collected accurate and detailed information about Surat before the raid on Surat. Forts. Forts were of great importance in the medieval age. Possession of a fort made it possible to keep an eye on the surrounding area. In case of foreign invasion, it was possible to protect the people taking shelter in the fort. It was possible to stock the fort with food grains, war materials, ammunition, and military garrison. The importance of forts in the foundation of Swaraj is well stated in Ajna Patra. This kingdom was created by the late revered and exalted majesty forts alone. There were about 300 forts in the Swaraj. Maharaj spent a considerable amount of money on the building and repairs of these forts. He built hill forts like Pratapgarh, Pawangarh and Rajgarh. There was a Killedar, a Sabnis and a Karkhanis on every fort. The Karkhanis looked after the storage of food grains and the maintenance of war material on the fort. Sea forts. Maharaj knew the importance of sea forts too. One of the sea forts that he built was Sindhudurga at Malwan. It is an excellent sea fort. To give strength to the construction of the fort, 5 khandis of lead was poured into its foundation. A sea fort called Padmadurga was built in front of Rajapuri in order to counter the Siddhi power. About this fort, Maharaj had said in the letter that by constructing Padmadurga, he had set up another Rajapuri to overshadow the Rajapuri of the Siddhi. Navy. Enemies on the west coast of India, the Portuguese of Goa, the city of Janjira, and the British factors of Surat and Rajapur created obstacles in the work of expanding the Swaraj. It was necessary to curb their activities and to protect the west coast. For this purpose, Maharaj raised a navy. He realized that the one who has a navy controls the sea. Maharaj had great foresight. There were 400 ships of various kinds in his navy. They included battleships like the Gurab, Galbat, and Pal. Ships were built in the creek of Kalyan Bhivandi, Vijayadurga, and Malwan. Mainak Bhandari and Daulat Khan were the chief naval commanders. Concern for the welfare of his subjects. Maharaj did not work only with the limited ambition of conquering enemies' territories and establishing dominance like other kings. His main objective was to make his subjects independent. He was aware that if his subjects were to really get a joy of freedom, it was necessary to have a disciplined administration, take comprehensive care of people's welfare, and protect the conquered territories. Maharaj was not merely a ruler, he was a watchful administrator who cared for his people's welfare. This is clearly seen in his administration of the state. So students, here we have done with the 7th lesson. Thank you.